Australea and the Zombie Cyborg. Australea was not happy. She wanted Fred to be her man, but he was Becky's man. Fred used to be Australea's man, but, well, things happen. Australea decided to talk to Fred about the situation. Australea got Fred alone. "Fred, why don't you dump Becky and become my man?" "Oh, Australea," Fred said, "you know my nephew is sick, and I'm all he has left after the zombie cyborgs ate the rest of our family. Becky's paying the doctor to make him better." "Great, so I have to get rich for you to be with me." Fred frowned. "It's not that simple." "What on God's green earth do you mean?" "Well, Australea, you're kind of responsible for the deaths of everyone in my family." "How dare you imply that? The zombie cyborgs killed them." "But I saw you slash a tendon in my grandma's ankle as we were running away. I had to leave bait to save everyone else." "But then you blocked everyone's entrance inside where they would have been safe. They were free to come in. You were wielding a chainsaw at them to keep them out. I was trying to keep the zombies out." "You sawed off my mother's and father's heads. I just wanted the zombie cyborgs to be full so they wouldn't eat us. Besides, I saved you. What are you worried about?" "I just think you could have handled the situation a little differently." "Never mind that now. The point is we love each other. I love you and you love me. You should be my man." "I know. I love you too." Fred started crying. "But it just makes so much more sense to be with Becky. She's rich and I need her money to save my nephew's life. And she didn't make my entire family zombie cyborg, babe. But I do love you. You are the love of my life." Fred started sobbing. Fred ran away. The next day, everyone was sitting around having a picnic. "Isn't this a wonderful day?" Fred said. "Yes, it is," Becky said, "and I love you so much." "I love you too, so much," Fred said, as he and Becky smiled at each other for an extended period of time with whole genuine tenderness and transcendent peace. Australea then spit her food out in Becky's face. "What did you do that for?" Fred said. "I'm sorry, it was an accident." Becky had a goofy look on her face, and it made me laugh. Suddenly, Nephew vomited all over everyone. "Nephew," said Fred, "I can't believe you just vomited all over everyone. I must take you to see Doctor." As everyone was leaving, Australea got an idea. A short time later, she snuck into Becky's garage and cut the brake lines in Becky's car. "Ha ha 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 ha! Now Becky will wreck her car and become disfigured or die. Then Fred will be mine, all mine!" To avoid looking suspicious, Australea then rushed to the hospital to show her support. "Is Nephew okay?" Australea asked as she arrived at the hospital. "We're waiting on the doctor," said Fred. He was crying. After a few minutes, Doctor came out. He said, "Hello, everyone, and I'm glad you could make it, Australia." "I have a knife," said Australea. "My name is Australea. Get it right." "So sorry, Australea," said Doctor. "Anyway, I have some bad news. Nephew has turned into a zombie cyborg." "Oh no," said Fred. Fred started crying. Doc continued, "I have him strapped down to the bed so he won't try to murder and eat us." "That's a relief," said Australea. Suddenly, Nephew came out, growling. "Oh no," exclaimed Doctor. "He must have chewed through the ropes. Run!" Everyone ran away as Nephew chased them. Everyone ran to Becky's house because it was the biggest. "I want a martini," said Australea. "Now's not the time," proclaimed Becky. "How'd this happen?" inquired Fred. Doc explained. "During the latest zombie cyborg outbreak, Nephew must have been bitten, or it could have happened when he was swimming around in that toxic waste dump." Australea chimed in. "I told him not to swim there." Fred corrected her. "You told him he had to. You threatened him with a knife." "Never mind that now. We need to focus on the present." Fred inquired, with snot gushing out of his nose from so much crying. "Doctor, can anything be done?" "I don't know. Nephew is now part decaying flesh on his left side and part robot on his right side. The good news is that the robot side of him is a computer program that generates more decaying flesh so he can potentially live forever. The bad news is that we have to kill him before he murders and eats us." Suddenly, Nephew burst open the door and started chasing everyone. "Oh no," screamed Australea. "Why didn't we lock the door?" Everyone scattered. Australea found Becky and said, "Why don't we get away in your car? But where's everyone else? They must be hiding. Let's go." Australea and Becky got in the car and Nephew spotted them and started chasing them. Drive as fast as you can, Australea screamed. All of a sudden, Nephew caught up to them and jumped on the moving car. At the same time, Australea jumped out of the car while simultaneously closing the door and enabling the child-proof locks. Becky started screaming uncontrollably as Nephew was bashing his head against the back window. She tried slamming onto the brakes, but to no avail. Australea was laughing with insatiable glee. Nephew successfully bashed in the back window and crawled inside towards Becky, growling, "I want to eat your brains," as Becky was tearing her hair out in manic horror. Meanwhile, the car was careening towards a cliff. The car went over the cliff with Becky and Nephew in it. Becky smashed the window and jumped out of the falling car to get away from Nephew, who was undeterred by the commotion. Falling to her death, Becky cried out, "Why, God, why?" Luckily, there was a trampoline at the bottom of the cliff, and Becky landed safely on it. The car exploded. Everyone came running towards Becky. "Your hair is a mess," said Australea. "I'm so glad you're alive," said Fred. "I love you more than ever." "But where's Nephew?" asked Dog. "There he is," said Bear. Nephew's legs and body were sticking up in the air as his head was stuck in the dirt. Fred cried. The next day, the police came. He said, "Where's Austria?" Australea started screaming and knocking over Becky's furniture. "Look what you made me do. Now you owe Becky's furniture repair costs." "Australea, I'm so sorry I got your name wrong. Of course I'll pay Becky's furniture repair costs." "Why are you here, Popo?" "Australea, we found your fingerprints all over Becky's brake pedal. That proves you tampered with her brakes. You are convicted to jail time." Australea screamed again and broke a panting. "I will unleash the fury of 1,000 Chernobyls." Police dragged her away, kicking and screaming, and she went to jail forever. Except that 2 weeks later, she got off on a technicality. The end.